Who are the Swahili people, and how did they influence the African culture? Swahili civilization can be traced back to the 8th century CE, and it rapidly grew during the medieval period, from the 11th to the 15th centuries. Origins of Swahili people and their culture. This growth was a result of the Indian Ocean trading network that spanned the economy by bringing in not just riches, but also religious ideas, specifically Islam, which had a significant impact on the local culture. Furthermore, the development of the Swahili language gave a common cultural unity to the people. Swahili, or Kiswahili, is a Bantu language that can be traced back to as early as the 8th to 14th century. It has been noted that the Swahili people originated from a people called the Wangozi, from an area called Shungwaya, north of the Tana River area in Kenya. They began settling into the coastal areas such as Lamu, Malindi, and Mombasa, and gradually spreading throughout to larger areas such as Somalia, Tanzania, Comoros, Zambia, and Mozambique. Their migration into these areas greatly promoted the growth of coastal towns, therefore fostering more trade among the different communities and also foreign countries such as Portugal, India, and China. Culture. The Swahili are a group of people originating from East Africa, including Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Somalia, Mozambique, and Comoros, with most of them being of Muslim Bantu origin. Their most known occupations are fishing, farming, trading, and seafaring. The Swahili culture is a blend of diverse African traditions and the surrounding Indian Ocean cultures. Most of the Swahili culture was passed down through oral traditions and cultures throughout the communities in the coastal areas of East Africa, spreading to larger areas. It is evident to note that the Swahili people were organized into a distinct social caste system. From the top hierarchy was the Wangwana, who were the merchants. Second was the Wazalia, the freed people, who were descendants of enslaved parents. Then the Watumwa, who are the slaves. Then the Wageni, who are the visitors. The Swahili language and culture are heavily influenced by Islamic traditions mixed with their culture. There are two main types of Swahili people. First, those by birth. Second, those by assimilation and integration. It is notable that a local African dialect that originated from the East African coastal areas has grown immensely in popularity and is being spoken outside of its confines to more than 200 million speakers. To a vast area in Africa such as Rwanda, Burundi, Kenya, Tanzania, Malawi, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Comoros, Liberia, Nigeria, South Africa, Sudan, and Swaziland. It is one of the few languages in the world that has more second language speakers than native ones. The core of the Swahili language originates in various Bantu languages on the coast of East Africa, with much of it sharing a common ancestry with Bantu vocabulary from the Pokomo, Taita, and Mijikenda languages, and to a smaller percentage, other East African Bantu languages. It has been purported in history that around 16 to 20% of the Swahili vocabulary has derived words from the Arabic language, but also from other contributing languages, including Persian, Malay Hindustani, and Portuguese. Swahili is notably among the list of major worldwide languages spoken in large regional areas of the world. Trade. In the 1st century BC, it is noted that a Greek navigator by the name Hippolus noticed that, between the month of November and March, the monsoon winds would blow from India towards Southeast Africa. And in between April and October, the winds would reverse direction from the East African coasts to the northeast. This natural phenomenon was well known by Swahili fishermen and seafarers since ancient times, until it gained notoriety by Euro-Asian merchants who brought immense growth and spike in the Indian Ocean trade network. The Swahili communities were majorly small-scale farmers, but later shifted to traders in the region. This shift also changed the structure of the society of these villages, as more wealth created an elite merchant class. The prosperity of this class further elevated these agricultural villages into major towns and cities we see today. The major coastal towns of East Africa, such as Gedi, Pate, Lamu, Malindi, Mvita, presently known as Mombasa, Zanzibar, and Kilwa, became major facilitators of inland trade within Africa, and the seafarers from Euro-Asia brought in sustainable trade within the region. When the Arabs arrived at coastal cities, they named the area Azania, which is derived from the word Zanj, meaning African, to refer to all East African hinterland. The most notable occupations of the Swahili people are fishing, farming, trading, and seafaring. The main systems of trade from 1500 CE were both barter trade and monetary, with the use of currency in the form of gold and other precious metals. The merchants from inland Africa were reported to bring in ivory, wooden crafts, gold, iron, silk, spices, and human slaves in exchange for salt, cotton, pottery, and crafts. Archaeological studies have been able to provide evidence that the city-states carried on a flourishing long-distance trade with Persia, India, and China. Coins from these states have been found in each of the coastal city-states, including examples of pottery from Persia, Arabia, Chinese Xingbai, and Chijo wares, as well as glass beads, bronze mirrors, coal sticks, and objects made of solid rock crystal reflecting the China trade. Other wares from Indonesia, dating back to 1000 to the 13th century, proved that Southeast Asia was also part of the East African commercial world. Religions. The Swahili practiced their own belief systems and African spirituality even before the early settlers and colonial powers brought in their own foreign religions. The main religions brought in were Islam and Christianity. Since their arrival in East Africa, Arabs were responsible for the introduction of Islam and set up madrasas, using Swahili to teach Islam to the natives. Islamic culture was a known powerhouse and gained political and religious stronghold, as witnessed in the Middle East, stretching all the way to Northwest Africa. As the Arab presence grew, it facilitated the rapid conversion of more natives to Islam using the Swahili language. Most of the communities adopted Muslim culture in the 11th century. There is a common misconception that all Swahili people are Muslim, which is further from the truth. However, most of them who interacted with Arab traders got to embrace and then later assimilated into the Islam religion. It is also noted by several scholars that Swahili came to be written in Arabic script in the early 19th century. From the arrival of Europeans in East Africa, Christianity was introduced to the region. The first known missionaries to settle on the East African coast were Portuguese Roman Catholics. By 1557, they had established monasteries at Mombasa, Lamu, and other Kenyan coastal towns. Most of the East African coastline was under then the rulership of the Zanzibar Sultanate. The second wave of Christian missionaries included the Lutherans, who were sent to Kenya through the Church Missionary Society. In 1844, Dr. Johann Ludwig Krapf and his wife Rosina arrived at Mombasa. Sultan Sayyid Said is said to have given him a permit to start a missionary station at the coastal city of Mombasa. Dr. Krapf then began learning the local languages, such as those of the Mijikenda people, Kamba, and also Swahili, which was the East African lingua franca language of communication at the time. The first mission school was established in Kenya, at Rabai near Mombasa. The Arabs were predominantly based in the coastal areas, while the European missionaries went further inland to spread Christianity. The first missionary posts in East Africa were located in the coastal areas. As a result, the missionaries also picked up Swahili and used it to spread Christianity due to many similarities with other indigenous languages such as Kamba, Oromo, and Maasai in the region. Politics. From the early 20th century, during the struggle for Tanganyika independence, Zanzibar, a semi-autonomous isle, united with Tanganyika to form the Republic of Tanzania. At the time, Tanganyika African National Union used Swahili as a language of mass organization and political movement. This included publishing pamphlets and radio broadcasts to rally the people to fight for independence. After gaining independence, Swahili was adopted as the national language. To this day, Tanzanians carry a sense of belonging when it comes to Swahili, especially when it is used to unite over 120 tribes across Tanzania. Later on, Swahili was used to strengthen solidarity within the nation and remains to be a key identity of the Tanzanian people. During Kenya's struggle for independence, it is noted that the 1963 Kenya's national anthem lyrics were originally written in Swahili. E Mungu Nguvu Yetu, translated to mean, O God of all creation, was written collectively by Thomas Kalume, Peter Kibukosia, Washington Omondi, Graham Hislop, and G.W. Sinogazaka in 1963. It was later translated into English by the Kenya State Commission to serve as the official national anthem after gaining independence from the British. It is evident that the anthem expresses pride, a sense of belonging, and deep conviction, elicited by uniting different tribes into one nation. By introducing Swahili words and phrases into English, Swahili has established a foothold in the world of English literature. Several well-known African writers, including Chinua Achebe and Ngugi wa Thiong'o, have expertly incorporated Swahili linguistic features into their writings. The combination of languages not only makes the story more authentic, but also forges a strong bond between the characters and their cultural origins. Swahili literature includes the use of Swahili literary themes and storytelling techniques in addition to language integration. Drawing on oral traditions, Swahili literature captivates readers while delivering significant cultural and moral lessons through vivid imagery, folklore, and proverbs. These methods have influenced English literature, giving it unique viewpoints and providing characters and stories with more depth. African cinema often uses Swahili-inspired themes to explore African cultural experiences, identity, and colonial resistance. They want viewers to get a sense of pride and kinship by accurately portraying the many African societies. Big movies like Serengeti, Bush Baby, and the 1994 Walt Disney animated musical drama Lion King were all made using Swahili as an inspiration. Most of the characters in the Lion King movie have Swahili names, such as Rafiki, which means a friend, Simba, which is a lion, Sarabai meaning mirage, Nuka, which means stink, Vitani meaning in war or demon of war, and Pumbaa, which means slow-witted. So there we have it. What are your thoughts about the Swahili people and their culture? Asante sana. Thank you for watching till the end. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. See you on the next one.